In this tutorial, I want to show you how to actually arrange a song using FL Studio. Once again, it is possible to write a full song in a single pattern in FL Studio, but I don't really recommend that as it kind of defeats the purpose of a pattern-based workflow. So there is a better way, and that's by using the playlist. You can open this up by going to the View menu or by pressing F5. This view might be a little more familiar if you've used other DAWs. However, there are some key differences that I want to outline. The playlist does have tracks like you might expect. However, the tracks don't have volume or panning controls. They're essentially just containers for organization. You can solo or bypass tracks, rename them, or set icons. But keep in mind that a track itself doesn't store any audio, MIDI, or plugins. These things are stored within patterns as channels. Next, notice in the upper left that FL is set to Pat or pattern mode. To make use of the playlist, you'll want to click this to switch over to song mode. Since I've already created some patterns in this project, I'll start arranging my song beginning with the bass line. To lay down the currently selected pattern, just left-click. As with the piano roll, you can click and drag to move something, and right-click to delete it. With the Paintbrush tool, you can paint multiple patterns in one click. Or you can use the Pencil tool to do one at a time. By holding Shift, you can switch between modes. So for example, the Pencil mode will switch to the Paintbrush mode as long as you're holding Shift, and vice versa. The best way to use the playlist is to have one pattern at a time per track. You can layer multiple patterns at the same time on one track, but again, this defeats the purpose of organization. You want things to be very clear visually at a glance. By working this way, I can easily solo my drums or bass and understand what's going on in my song at a glance. Cloning patterns using the playlist is even easier than in the step sequencer. Just like in the step sequencer, the clone function, or make unique, copies this pattern into the next empty pattern. There's one last technical point that I want to make. FL Studio refers to anything in the playlist as a clip. So I'm not actually drawing patterns here, I'm drawing pattern clips. It might seem like a silly distinction to make, but it's actually very, very relevant and important. Think of a pattern as a blueprint, and a pattern clip as something created from that blueprint. I can resize an individual pattern clip, cut it, or mute it, without affecting the other clips of that same pattern. On the other hand, if I go back to the step sequencer and make changes to the pattern itself, this will affect all instances of that pattern as pattern clips. So once again, a pattern is the blueprint that clips are created from. Individual clips can be edited on the playlist and arranged, but if you make changes to the pattern itself, it will affect all of them.